Mornings belonged to silence and steel. He rose while the world dreamt, his body aching from yesterday's labor. He heaved carcasses of meat from pallet to shelf, every tendon burning with the work. It was a brutal rhythm, but he carried it without complaint. The memory of his wife's smile, his daughter's laughter, was enough to turn exhaustion into pride. Then, when his shift ended, he went home and traded one weight for another. The microphone, the scripts, the dark worlds of horror fiction whispered into being by his voice. It meant 3, maybe 5 hours of sleep on a good night. Time was the enemy, always slipping, always taunting. Sometimes, when fatigue pulled at the edges of his vision, he swore he could see it. Translucent timers hanging in the air, numbers ticking down above each task in his life. One over his daughter's playtime, dwindling to minutes before bed. One over his wife, marking the seconds of conversation before exhaustion shut him down. Another above the raw meat he lifted, over the microphone waiting in his booth. Another over his bed. Even the old console in the living room, his one love beyond work and family. The worlds of games he ached to delve into had its own cruel timer. All of them counting down at once, overlapping in a chorus of vanishing moments. And always, never enough. He found the marble wedged between the floorboards in the store's loading bay, a black sphere no larger than a coin, but alive with depth. At first glance, he thought it glassy, a child's toy, but when he turned it beneath the dim light, it revealed rivers of impossible terrain flowing inside. Cliffs shaped like teeth, constellations collapsing into spirals, architecture that mocked human geometry. It didn't reflect light. It devoured it, sending it back as visions. He kept it in his pocket, and at night, after the family had gone to bed, and he was too tired to record but too restless to sleep, he would hold it. His thumb rubbed the surface raw. Then a voice came, slow, almost hesitant, as if learning his mind's language. He laughed the first time, a nervous laugh at his own fatigue. But in the still hours, surrounded by the hush of his recording booth, he answered. More hours in the day. Just, more time. The marble warmed. The next morning, his alarm screamed at 2 a.m., then 2:10, then 2:30, then 2:45. He finally rose at 3, groggy as always. But something felt off. He showered, dressed, drove through the black streets. Yet, when he arrived at work, the clock betrayed him. It was still 3 a.m. No time had passed. An hour of work, lifting boxes, splitting meat, sweat thick on his skin, and still 3 a.m. By 7, he had worked 4 shifts worth, and still the clock had crawled to 4. He came home bewildered and exhausted, yet buzzing with the thrill of possibility. His daughters had not aged a minute. His wife was frozen in her morning routine. He kissed her on the cheek and she smiled absently, but the moment stretched. her expression lingering as though trapped in a loop. That night, he recorded an entire novel in one sitting, edited it, mastered it, listened back, and still found it was only midnight. He laughed then, delirious. He had made a wish, and it had been granted. But days without end became nights without rest. Hours thickened into rope, binding him. He worked and worked and recorded, and time refused to move. Sleep offered no escape. He would lie in bed staring at his wife, her chest rising and falling in a slow metronome, endless and unchanging. His daughter's laughter became an echo he could not escape, like a recording played too often. The marble whispered still, its voice curling around his thoughts, slithering inside his brain. Work became an endless slaughter. The carcasses never ran out. He cut until his arms quivered, until the floor swam with blood that never dried. At home, his microphone hissed with phantom voices, his own narrations overlapping in grotesque chorus. Thousands of his own tones weaving into something alien, something hungry. He smashed the marble once in a fit of rage, but its shards bled light, spilling galaxies across his floor. And when he blinked, it was whole again, and in his hand, pulsing like a heart. Time ceased to be a number. It became a weight. It became pressure. Days folded in on themselves, yet he remained. His beard grew, his skin yellowed, his eyes red with sleepless fury. But his wife never blinked from that same half-smile. His daughters never aged a second. He screamed then. He shook them, begged them to move, to live. They only stared, like mannequins wrapped in skin. The marble sang louder now, a low hymn that filled every corner of his skull. He clawed at his face until his fingernails split. He cut his arm open with the butcher's knife just to watch the blood crawl instead of flow, thick and slow like syrup, unwilling to fall, refusing to obey the mercy of gravity. He understood then. There were no days left, no nights, no ticking forward. Only him, eternal, rotting alive in a stagnant ocean of time that would never, ever end. The marble rested in his palm, warm, pulsing. He pressed it to his ear and listened to its lullaby. A promise, a curse. His voice cracked with laughter, broken and wet. He had all the hours in the world, and nothing left to spend them on. His wife's smile was gone. His daughter's laughter silenced. The warmth of work and play stripped from him. All the clocks stopped, and with them, everything that mattered.